Hey, folks, that's right. This is your man Adolphus A.D. Moore. Well, the Texans season has come to another halt again in the divisional round. Yep, Foxborough. Let's see what last year. What the heck? Last 3 years under D'Amico, it's been stopped at M&T Bank Stadium. It's got stopped at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City last year, and now Foxborough. So all I was getting ready, searching for room, flights, and everything going to Denver next week. Nah, I go ahead and get my flights ready and go to San Francisco. But hey, let's final score 28-16, and we getting ready to dig in here and have some fun and let's get this thing
The
done. Let me
Steelers'
give a
second
man. Let me
series,
see. Nope, wrong
it
one.
looked like what was your
Wrong
mindset? Because
one.
it looked
Wrong
like the
one.
defense came off the sideline after their second series, and looked like they just it was like a 180 the way they just sort of
That's
turned
a.
the game around.
Let me
At least
move.
got hold to it and started turning it around.
There we go.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Let me, Elwin. Let me put you on. Add to the scene.
All right.
There he is. There you go. All right. Hey, yes. That distraught looking gentleman. Oh my. Hey, you messed with me by my hat last week in Pittsburgh because it was a
Yeah.
gold cap. So I'm put this black one on, and now it's not because of the season ended. I just happened to came from church, came from church, had it on, and what the heck. So anyway, uh, Texas go down to the New England Patriots. Too many turnovers, guys. It's entirely too many turnovers. The defense was able to pull them out last week. You got a total of if my math is correct, and I did take algebra 1 and algebra 2 in geometry, but I think if I remember correctly, I think Texas between last week and this week, you're looking at about 7 turnovers. Four pass interceptions by CJ today, 2 fumble snaps, and another I think interception last week. So 5 interceptions, 2 fumble snaps, a lot of turnovers, a lot of things. You cannot you're not gonna play winning football with that type of.
No.
I don't care. I don't care if, and I think this is probably one of the best defenses that the Texans or anybody will see in the NFL.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't have a problem saying they remind me of the '85 Bears. I don't have a problem saying, Coach, the '85 Bears won the Super Bowl. But I mean, from a defensive perspective and what they've been able to do. But and I think 2 weeks ago a couple of weeks ago in Los Angeles when after they played the Chargers. I know D'Amico made mention of the fact that the Chargers made a game out of some things that they shouldn't have happened. But be candid with you, he rested the starter because Jacksonville had won, and bye 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 bye
Hmm.
bye. Anyway, the guys I thought done remarkably well under the circumstances. And so for that, hey, season's over. Initial comments, Elwin.
Well, a couple of things are just very, very disappointing I think, to all of us. Last week, saw CJ have trouble holding on to the ball. And I think we thought, well, first wild card game on the road that he's faced, he'll be okay next week.
Yep.
Obviously, today, one of those turnovers was not his fault. But I think the real question here is what's happened to CJ Stroud? He is not the quarterback he was for the entire season, basically. I think part of that, certainly today, the fact that Trent Brown was out, then you get Titus Howard hurt. So you're without 2 starters on the offensive line. The protection was not any good, but he did not look confident to me at all in the first half. And just when it looked like they were going to get something going, then they have the interception and have to settle for the 3 points on the first drive of the second half. And it just seemed like it was one thing after another. I said this at the beginning of the season. And looking back over the season, even though we had a 10-game winning streak, I think it's still very apropos. I question, did we really improve offensive coordinators when we got rid of Bobby Slowak and added Nick Caley? Because even in the games where the team did well, a lot of those games we did well and won because the defense was playing so well. As I've heard so many commentators around the league say, as we got into the playoffs, the Texans offense mediocre at best pretty much the whole season. There's too many superstars out there on that field, and sure, we were without Nico Collins today. Dalton Schultz went out early, but I think the real problem is there's just not enough creativity from the offensive coordinator position. And I realize you got to get stability, but I still don't think Nick Caley is the answer.
Uh, you know, I'm not necessarily gonna disagree with you. I think really even at the 10-game winning streak with a lot of other things involved, I think the jury is still out.
Yeah,
I think the jury really is still out. I thought I saw flashes of some things that I like what they incorporated. Motion, a lot of some motion, a lot of different things, and getting CJ moving out the pocket and so forth. But the thing about it, I didn't see a consistency of it enough.
no,
I would see it, and then it was sort of like, okay, we put that on the shelf. And then, and I think, here's the deal. I think when the Texans got successful running the ball, you run the ball. I mean, and you know
yep,
what? Running the football is just basically boring. It's just lining up and knocking the hell out of the guy in front of you, and you picking up 6-7 yards, and you just keep matriculating ball down the field. God bless you, Hank Stram.
yep,
But the thing about it, when that is the case, now when you get stopped and when the pressure turns up, when you have turnovers, and then all of a sudden you got to turn the switch, you got to start being creative and got to do some other things. Yeah, I know Titus went out. I know Trent Brown couldn't make it today. I think Will Anderson exploited that rookie on the other side too.
oh yeah,
So like I tell folks, hey, everybody's getting a paycheck tomorrow. At least the playoff teams are getting a paycheck tomorrow.
mhm,
Okay. And so, and everybody's not going to be happy with the results. No, I'm not. No, I'm not happy with the results. But it was the effort there. Yeah. But the thing about it is something missing.
yeah,
I'm still, it's something missing. I can't just necessarily reach in there and say this, and this. There was inconsistencies, and I think in order for the Texans to really get past the divisional round, there's got to and here's the thing about it. When they won that game on the road last week, I thought, okay, because to me, yeah, it's easy to play at home. Don't think that the New England Patriots, with the New England Patriots have been able to pull this game off in say Chicago. I'm talking about cold places that's playing outdoors. Yeah,
mhm,
they used to playing outdoors, but with the pressure that having to be outside under the circumstances, yeah, when you have the momentum with the crowd behind you, whatever the case might be, I thought that the Texans, yeah, it was cold. It was cold, not and probably the same temperature. It wasn't no snow flurries in Pittsburgh last week. But the fact that they were able to weather the whole atmosphere, the whole circumstances, because that again, I think I mentioned to you, that's an intimidating crowd
oh yeah,
in Pittsburgh. This was an intimidating crowd in Foxborough. But I think when you jump up and then when the crowd get goosed up, you got to do something to calm them down to bring them back. And the Texans, for the most part, they didn't get it done.
no,
And that's why I come back to we're talking about Nick Caley. And like I say, jury's still out, as far as I'm concerned. I think once we get past, and it's something. And let me just say this: this is something Aziz Al-Shar said to me last week in the locker room after the game. Because when I asked him about him after that second series, how the Texans sort of locked down, to me it sort of went like, hey, after those first 15 plays been script, and everybody's got a feel of it. Okay, this is when your ingenuity comes in. This is when that sheet and that play sheet you running off of, and all them markers and everything that whatever however you got your play sheet fixed. This is when you really got to start showing that you can coach and how to
Mhm.
counteract some things. And the jury's still out with me. I'll just say that, Elwin.
Well, I agree with what you said. There have been some high spots. There were a lot of deep passes this year that we didn't see last year. But just like you say, it's just like a flash in a pan and it is gone. Now, I was very disappointed today to see in that first half that the Texans could not run the ball at all. Now, again, of course, when you're missing two starters, yeah, you're asking some guys to come in that aren't starters, and they're not starters for a reason because they're not as good. But, the only thing about this game, the Texans remained in the game for the better part of the game because of that best defense in several years in the league. The defense kept them in the game, and I still, for the life of me, don't know how that last touchdown pass was caught that the Patriots made. That was unbelievable. As you
Oh,
know,
you
without
talking about
that, it would have been a 5-point game still.
you talking about the one the Butte
Yeah, Butte. Yeah.
Over Stingley. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't
no.
know how he caught that ball.
Yeah, just pause real quick. Let me go ahead and just interject this. No, this is not the reason that the Texans lost. But
No.
you know what? Darren, I want to see some more consistency with the officiating.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
And
Don't get
and
me
I
started on that.
no,
After the Bills game last night, don't get me started on that.
I just want to see some more because I mean you guys, it's what, 7 officials on the field, plus the ones standing on the sideline, plus the ones in the sky. And I'm seeing obvious. Look, when the guys get past 5 yards and all of a sudden y'all reaching out, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, Lassiter and Stingley, yes, Stingley got called for one. But I mean, that was some obvious things, on the route that, beside the obvious one of reaching out and grabbing Jaden, and I think that was no, Jaden Higgins that got
Higgins.
Higgins and them. I mean, not just that was just blatant robbery there, but I'm
Oh,
talking about
absolutely.
some other stuff, and so that's it. I'm done with it. I'm not because no, the Titan. I mean Titan. Ooh, the Texans did not. Ah, the Texans did not lose this game on account of the officiating today.
No, they didn't.
The Texans lost this game today because they did not play well enough. The Texans lost this game today because 4 interceptions, and you just don't win it. And then the conditions, everything else. My hats out to Kami Faber. Faber, he hit at that 51 yarder in that conditions.
Yep.
I was just thinking, hey, just get it close, and then let's see if, because when he hit that 51 yarder, I was just sort of envisioning him lining up, uh, going for a 50+ yard field goal just to get just to solidify a win for the Texans.
Yeah,
But
I could see a 2-point win after that because we were trailing by 5.
yeah, yeah. But it went for naught. I thought they came out. They came out. They ran the ball well in that opening series, which was needed. I think that was essential.
Yep.
If anything, yeah, it got to be boring. But you know what? When you picking up 6 yards a clip, 7 yards a clip, you know what? Bore me to death. I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah, just bore me. I'm good with getting bored. I am totally good with being bored. But after that, and it just some things that just ooh, check this one out. CJ seeing ghosts. Okay. I'm giving everybody the opportunity. I'll just say this, and this was brought to my attention. I'm not sure it's been brought to yours, Elwin.
Okay.
CJ and I've had folks in here and far have asked, is CJ okay after coming back from that concussion?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
I'm just sort of wondering about his confidence and his in and watching his feet last week in Pittsburgh, and just
Hmm.
watching a lot of things, and you just sort of sit there and wonder. I try I try not to buy off all into it, but you sort of have to wonder and look at it, and I think it was and one of the few times I really don't listen to broadcasters on the air. I try to keep it down, but even Troy was mentioning about something about his that aura that you need to be walking in and out of
Yep.
had brought it up. So and you sort of look at him, and I know he's trying to fight through some things, and with all the interceptions and everything, and I know he probably in his head somewhere he's probably sitting there going like, "God, this is last week," but you know what? Season's done. Got won 10 in a row. They did win a game on the road. There's something
Hmm.
that the Texans heretofore have not done, but you still got to get past the divisional round.
That's
And
true. And another thing, AD, that I don't keep my volume down. I was listening to Troy and Joe on the broadcast on ABC, and I agree with something that Joe brought up. You wonder if CJ's throwing hand was having a problem after he got his finger on his throwing hand hit on the helmet of one of the defensive players of the Patriots. It looked to me like he never had the proper grip on the ball after that. After they brought it up, I started watching it, and I think it was bothering him. They showed several times when he was walking off the field, fourth down, he would shake his hand. And I'm really wondering if he might not have maybe even cracked a bone or fractured a bone in one of his fingers that may have been affecting those passes some.
I don't know. We might find out. I mean, it's just like last in Denver. We found out that hey, quarterback, got a
Bo
broken
Nix.
bone. Bo Nix, yeah. So we don't know. I mean, yeah, they mentioned that, but and the thing about it, I'm just sort of here's what, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm not trying to I'm just thinking out loud. I wonder how close did D'Amico come to actually bringing Davis Mills in there.
You know what? You remember my buddy Mike Malarkey,
Yeah,
team photographer for the Giants for 47 seasons. He called me at halftime and he goes, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't want to hurt CJ's confidence, but I honestly think if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I let Davis Mills go in for that first possession of the third quarter and let him see what he can do." But I do understand with that first drive of the third quarter, I do understand why D'Amico left him in because CJ did get confidence from that drive.
yeah.
But I think at the end of the third quarter, after that last turnover, I would have put Davis in and just to see what he could do. And I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, no, no, you don't want to do that. You're going to hurt CJ's confidence." Well, yeah, but the thing about it is, even if it hates or hurts his confidence, he's got all the offseason to get over it, and he'll be fine again come training camp and OTAs next year. And my buddy Mike Malarkey just texted me. I sent him the link. He's watching the podcast, and he texted me and he said CJ was having trouble before he got the finger hit, and that is true. He was struggling early on there too, no doubt about it. Just like he did in Pittsburgh.
Well, hey, Mike, you know what? Good observation because being I've seen Mike's work, and I know Mike. Have been introduced to him. I appreciate you, Mike. Watching, and that's a keen point because yeah, he was having issues. He had issues in Pittsburgh,
Yep.
and we and I think I don't know if I might have texted you even from up there. I was going like I'm not, I'm just sort of just things you win, but you still had some doubts. You had,
Yep.
like the hair standing on the back of your neck was still going like something's not right. Something's not right. So, like I say, I mentioned earlier, and I'll go back to I'll say the premise again. Jury's still out with me on Nick Haley, but you know what? He's coming back next year. I think, but the situation I'm glad, the fact that they had to go on the road. To
Oh, me
me, I
too.
think I am glad they had to go on the road. I think this was because it's going to be them against them, and I'm talking about us as the team, not me. But I'm talking it was that us against them mentality dealing with that crowd, and I
Yep.
think this would have been another fine opportunity in the snow. because somebody, a few folks mentioned the fact, well, CJ from California. So what? He went to Ohio State for 4 years. Good night. Give me a break.
Yeah. Gets
I
called
mean,
up there.
yeah. I mean, come on. Every all that the game against the game against their bitter rival University of Michigan, it's always is cold either in Columbus or in Ann Arbor. So okay, whatever. I think we're searching for trying some reason. Bottom line, the reasons are, in my opinion, 7 turnovers in 2 weeks, but the turnovers turned around and bit them in the butt today, and
Yep.
the defense could not pull them out.
No. No.
The defense could not pull them out. And Will Anderson, you know, I wondered why he got the All Pro nod over Daniil, but to me, I mean, I guess it wouldn't have looked right for both of them to make first team All Pro. But bottom line, hey, I got give him kudos to him, and but he showed up today. I mean, Daniil Hunter showed up. I thought Togai, I thought Sheldon Rankin, the front seven, even the back end. I think that overall that defense, but at the end of the day, it's the Houston Texans going down to the New England Patriots 28-16. That's it.
Yep.
They don't split them up. I thought that and really. I tweeted this out when they down the ball inside the 4 yard line on the Patriots 4 yard line.
Hmm.
I was sitting there going like, okay, now I mean, special teams done what they needed to do. Let's go in here and get a turnover down here.
Absolutely.
We couldn't get the turnover right down there, but
No.
then all of a sudden they started slamming the ball in there, and all hey, the New England Patriots let their running game speak for them when they needed to,
Hmm.
because they moved that ball out from the 4 yard line and got it to midfield, for they had to turn it over. So you know that's, to me, that may not look good, but you know what? That's sound football. They just they,
Oh
they
yeah.
took their running game and pushed it out, and I said right then and there, I just said the defense had too many snaps.
Yep.
When you go back and count up the snaps, you have to look at it like that. You know,
I agree.
so
And no matter how good the defense is, they can't stay on the field. I know they were on the field at least probably 65% of the game today.
yeah,
And you can't allow that to happen no matter how good your defense is. They got to get some rest. And of course, that is the thing that hurt the Texans, particularly in that first half, is they could not run the ball. And when they needed to run the ball, they couldn't run the ball. And of course, obviously, we've already talked about CJ, but had a really, really rough day. And even a lot of those passes that weren't potential turnovers, and as you and I both know, there could have easily been 3 or 4 more turnovers that were awfully close that weren't. But there were a lot of passes today where he just flat out missed a wide open receiver. And then there were 2 or 3 drops to where they could have gotten some major yardage if the receiver would have held onto the ball. It was just, to me, it was a collective effort, and it was no more CJ's fault than it was the rest of the offense, in my opinion. But certainly he did not have a good game.
yeah. 47 passes he attempted today. He only completed
18, was it?
20,
20. Okay.
20, 20. His quarterback rating, man. You probably need to go declare an emergency. Look at his quarterback rate.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the Patriots had a lot to do with it. And
Absolutely.
and a couple final points, and we'll get ready to wrap this up. And I probably we'll say hello to one another when we get to San Francisco.
You bet.
Did you think the wide receivers were getting open, or what? I mean, I thought that the new Nico not playing. I think the New England secondary really showed some disrespect to the Texans receivers.
I agree. I agree. Totally. It was like they
I,
didn't
I
worry about them. There were several plays when the receivers, just like you said, the receivers were wide open, but either CJ's passes were high, he was rushed, and they ended up short, or the receivers a couple of times just flat drop passes they should have caught. And of course, one of CJ's interceptions went off Hutchins' hands that
yeah,
should have been
yeah.
caught.
Yeah.
By the way, one other quick thing I'll throw in. You told me to keep up with it. The Bears just kicked a field goal, and there are about a minute 15 left till halftime, and it's Chicago 10 and the Rams 7. The Rams scored first. Bears tied it up, and it's 10-7 Chicago now, and the field is almost totally covered with snow.
Oh, okay. Well, good old bad weather. And
Yeah,
and now we weren't doing play by play because the NFL, they love to, you can't be going play. We didn't do play by play. You just did a recap.
yeah, it was
Anyway,
recapped.
yeah, okay,
They've
good.
gone to commercial after all that happened.
All right, Evan, final points, man. This excuse me. This season, put it in the can, man. Good season. Let me have
Yep.
your high points, your low points, and we'll get ready and wrap it up, man.
Well, final points, 10-game winning season, a streak. That was just totally awesome. And especially after starting out 0-3. I know you and I talked after they were 0-3. I talked to John McClain, talked to a number of the other guys down there in the press box. And at 0-3, we thought this team was going downhill. So kudos to D'Amico Ryans, all the coaching staff for getting things turned around. And I will just simply say, I think we all know there's a lot of teams, probably more than half the teams in the NFL. If they'd started out 0-3 like that, the head coach would have lost the locker room. D'Amico Ryans kept it together. D'Amico Ryans is a winner. I firmly believe they've got to, like you said, figure out what's going on with CJ in his head, get that squared away. I have not lost confidence in CJ. I still think he's a franchise quarterback, but they've got to get whatever's going on figured out and fixed. And obviously, we've still got some work to do on the offensive line. I think offensive line has to be a big key again in offseason, free agency, and the draft.
Yeah, I concur wholeheartedly. They have got to go back and fix that offensive line. I think there's some. I think they had one piece. I think there are at least three good, three decent. I think Ariante Ursay, Ursay. I think he's a go. He's a get. We got a left tackle. I think we need to figure out where we're gonna leave Titus at and let Titus play a
Yep.
whole season now.
Yep.
I think we okay at center position. I think we got to figure out what we're gonna do at the right tackle and the other guard. I think
Absolutely.
I think Ed Ingram. I think he stepped in there. I think Ed can. I think Ed can. I think in fact we might have 4 spots already filled. I
It's
think the right.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible. You got four positions already filled. I think they got to come back and figure out what they're gonna do with the right tackle. I think. I think we got to figure out. I think Jalen Knowles and I think Jaden them. I think Knowles. I think we shown he could take the top off the defense.
Oh, yeah.
I think we need to go ahead and exploit the speed element when we can. And this is gonna be Nick Caley's development because he's gonna be back next year. CJ, I think he's gonna do some soul searching. Let him get whatever's been on this case. Let him figure out and get it out. Let
Yeah. I
him
think
get it
there's
out.
one more thing, too, that concerns me, AD, and we hadn't addressed this. We know we've still got 7 head coaching positions that are left to be filled right now out there in the NFL. I'm afraid because of what this Texans defense has done this year, there is a strong possibility we could lose Matt Burt.
Oh
And
yeah.
then you got to come in and find another defensive coordinator to replace him. And as we all know, no matter how good you are as a defensive coordinator, when you get a new defensive coordinator, they're not going to keep it status quo. They're going to come in and bring what's been successful for them. And then you got to retrain your defensive players all over again. So we better say a little prayer. And I know he deserves a shot, but we better say a little prayer that we get to keep him at least one more year.
Elwin, I'm gonna be candid with you. I think we may lose Matt Burke after this season.
I do too. I do too.
I'm just gonna be candid. I think, and I'm reason I'm saying it, and I applaud D'Amico Ryan for stepping back and putting it all in back. Now, trust me, D'Amico was all involved in that. But during the course of the game, Matt Burke's calling the plays, him and that whole rest of that defensive staff. And no, Matt, I guarantee you, Matt's getting ready to go on some coaching interviews now.
I guarantee
And
you now that the
yeah,
season's
season's
over
over
for the
with.
Texans.
Matt Burke is going. I think there's some other defensive personnel is going to go.
Yeah,
I think the offensive line. I think that situation. Let's come back and figure out what they're going to do with the offensive line. Let's keep working on that. Those are some different things. We might lose Wright, the defensive line coach. There are several different guys and what they have done and what they have been able to show as their level of work. We could lose a few coaches. In fact, we could even lose Johnson, the quarterback coach.
yeah.
I mean, so that's part of the league, and so we get ready, and maybe change is good. But like I say, I just personally I think Matt might be gone after this season with the job that he's done, and especially when D'Amico finally put it all in his hand and let him go ahead and continue to call it during the course of the game. Anyway, man, appreciate it as always.
Appreciate you.
We'll hook it up when we get to San Francisco. I guess I need to go cancel my reservations in Denver now.
Yeah, I reckon so. Well,
Yeah,
you
I
know
guess
my warped sense of humor. I got to throw this in, AD, so we can
okay. All right,
end with a
go ahead.
laugh. You know the old song of Frank Sinatra, I left my heart in San Francisco. Well, we ain't going to leave our heart in San Francisco because the Texans aren't going to be there, but we just left our hearts in Foxborough.
Yeah, doggone it. Hey, but you know what? Here's the thing about it. When I started seeing the snow, one thing I thought about, what was the coach that used to be at SMU that would wind up that sent the snowplow out? I was hoping we weren't going to see the snowplow.
Yeah. I think they outlawed that after that game.
Yeah, I think the NFL did probably go ahead and outlaw that. But anyway, hey man, appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
No, and hey folks, let me get to this little dilly rat here. Yeah, here we are. Hey man, season's over for the Texans. I appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, I appreciate Elvin and everybody who has come on, my guests and everything. We will be doing some things from Super Bowl 60. Credential Houston Roundball Review is going out there, so we'll be out there in Super Bowl 60 and all the other situations. I appreciate my kudos, my thanks to the Texans communication staff, for everything that they've done, with me and for me and allowing me to, be a part of the media that covers this team from an exhaustive standpoint. And no, it was fun. It's been fun, but the season's over with, and we had to take it. We had to take the bitter with the sweet. Because nobody, and when this time of the year, it's only going to be one winner, and we was thinking this year. With the comeback that the Texans had this year, we were thinking and hoping that they will be the team that can go to Santa Clara, Super Bowl 60, get past this round, and really go play for an AFC championship. But it's not going to happen. So anyway, appreciate it. Thank you. You'll be notified. You'll be getting notifications off my sites ad _more64, Twitter, Instagram, AdMax Corner, and my Facebook and all the other things. Media will be announcements on. But anyway, thank you for the season. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the pluses. Even thank you for the minus. Thank you for the little nasty notes y'all left on some of my Instagram accounts. But I take it all in fun. I take it for what it's worth, because you're entitled. The fact that you even paid attention to even send me some nasty notes. You know what? Maybe I just struck a nerve with you, so that's okay. If I struck a nerve with you, wait till the next time. I do more than strike a nerve. I might just hit a nerve. But anyway, hey folks, we're done. I'm out. Again, final score: Texas season is done. Foxborough, the train stops, the momentum stopped. The New England Patriots 28, the Houston Texans 16. Texas will watch their uniforms tomorrow, and the New England Patriots will head to Mile High Stadium, Jarrett Stadium, and we'll see what's going to happen next week. I'll be getting ready. Now I'm going to go watch the rest of this game and figure out what's happening. Hey, folks, we done. I'm out. Let me hit the end button. Thank you again. And we are done.